alright. Add it up. Okay, alright. Add it up. Add it up.
Well, good morning. Happy May, Asian Pacific celebration this month. Thank you guys for showing up. I want to, first of all, before we get started, let's go through the housekeeping really quickly. And then I have some thank you shout outs that I want to do. So in your right hand corner, you will see a purple countdown. It starts at 45 minutes. We work and study for 45 minutes. Then we have a 5-minute break. Once we come back from that 5-minute break, we then have 5 minutes that we go through quick questions. And that's our study. It's an hour. It is 8:03 a.m. Central Standard Time on the 2nd of May. And so my shout out I want to say, I had a person who is following me on YouTube reach out to me, and they just made the comment, stay consistent, bro. It was because I didn't realize that there wasn't anybody else talking about this particular exam. So this is the study group for the Comptia Data Plus exam. We are studying Mike Chapple's work. So if you don't have a chance or don't have, this is the book, Data Plus Study Guide. That is what we're studying out of. Okay, it is by Mike Chapple. Cybex is the company, of course. They do great study guides. And so we are studying on our class, we are using the digital version. So I have the printed version as well as the digital version. So you can follow along and, watching me, or if you want to get the digital version, they do have the digital version. Of course, they have that on, this is off of the Kindle. So I'm not sure if they have this on Apple Books. I really didn't look because most of my stuff is in Kindle. And final thing is just kind of where we were in our notes for last time. So just so you know the color setup and what that whole color thing means. So for the color aspects, the colors are yellow is what we typically will use here just to take notes, as if you were taking notes on scratch paper. Okay, blue is something, if this is what we would use if we were trying to explain what we do to someone else. If they're asking what is data science, why is this exam important, why does this matter, that type of stuff. Okay, As far as pink is concerned, this is what we use when we get ready to take a test in the book, so that we can track our answers. And as you can see, we took our first test some time ago, and kind of we did okay in the first exam, so we'll see. And orange is usually something just for my own personal notes that I keep, which are separate from the class notes. All right, so let's go ahead, get started. And we left off on page 77 digitally. We're about 18% done with the book, and we're just above 40 minutes for study time. So let's go ahead and get started. If for some reason you have a question, something you want me to go through a little bit deeper, you can always just put a question inside of wherever you're watching me, YouTube, Twitter, wherever it is you're watching me from. You have a way to be able to talk to me directly. So if you put a comment in there, I'll be happy to get respond to that comment and do my best to do whatever it is that you asked me to do as far as the book is concerned. So let's go ahead and get started. Hopefully you have some coffee or something to help you get through your study session. And we picked up on the alphanumeric data types. That's what we were talking about before, because there were different we were talking about different types of data, and like it wasn't structured it was either structured, unstructured, and something else. Structured data, okay, yeah, so it was structured, unstructured, and one other different type of data. And remember, structured data is in tabular form like this. For some reason, there's a reason why they did this in italics. Excluding numbers can be achieved using the text data type. I could see that possibly being a question of asking what data type, specifically like what data type would you use to like maybe exclude numbers from a system, and we should think text data type. Actually, I think I'm going to write that question out. What data type is used to exclude numbers? I think this other sentence could be a question too. It says, suppose you operate an online retail system. To deliver orders, you need address information for the intended recipient. This information comes from the customers themselves. Since they can specify where orders should be shipped, anytime a person interacts with a computer, there's a potential for data entry error. Suppose someone wanted to enter Montana for the state component of their address. Oh, okay. So what he's basically explaining in these two chapters is if you look at the O and the 0 on the keyboard, they are very close, and they're saying like that would be a reason you would use a text data box, a text data type, not data box, but a text data type is like if a person is typing in Montana, it is more likely that a person who's using a US QWERTY keyboard, which is just the QWERTY keyboard, that keyboard, because the O and the 0 are very close, you could make an error and write, instead of Montana, you could say M0 NTANA, or instead of the correct Montana with the O. So if you had a text data type bots, then it would create an error because it wouldn't let you put a 0 in there when there should be a letter in there. So this is the QWERTY keyboard layout, and he was talking about these two letters right here being very close, and the fact like if you were trying to type out Montana on the keyboard, you could very easily hit 0. Even though I don't know that people who actually know how to type, I don't know that you would make that mistake and hit 0. Yes, is it possible? But I know for me, like when I get ready to type, I would never hit 0, because as you're going through and typing Montana, you're thinking about the letters as you're typing. So you're not really thinking 0. And most of the time, like I don't use I can only speak for myself here, but like the keyboard that I use is this Logitech keyboard. So I use this keyboard instead of like the Apple traditional keyboard. And with this keyboard, it has a 10 key, and if you do a lot of numbers, spreadsheets and stuff, you prefer to have the 10 key versus the numbers at the top. Some people prefer that because they didn't have a 10 key. But I know for me, I prefer a 10 key on the side of mine. I don't know. Do you guys actually type with like 10 key, or do you type with just like the keyboard cut off and you don't have any like function keys or anything else? You have function keys, but no, you actually don't. You don't have function keys when you have just a regular standard keyboard. I'm just curious. I don't know. Maybe we might end up getting like a test question on how many byte. I don't know. I'm sure he'll probably have something to address that. I don't know if we need to know like how many bits a specific vendor would have allow far as their text is concerned. What's the longest possible text that you can have, for example? I don't know that we would have that, but it's possible. Okay, so this is an Excel text only. Okay. So if you're going into, I didn't realize with Excel. Now, keep in mind, like my experience with Excel is probably on a like a novice level. I'm actually taking a class right now, courtesy of 365 Data Science. This is not a sponsored video, but I do enjoy their courses. And right now, one of their courses, like you start off in Excel and you've got to take the Excel exams. So like I have to take the Excel exam today. When considering an alphanumeric and data types, you need to think about the characters set you are using to input and store data when using databases. I would think by the time you actually get to a database, there has been a data engineer that has already set up the character mapping for a particular area. I don't know that we would be doing that. At least when I was reading this, it was like, okay, you need to know like the total number. I could see you knowing what's the total maximum number of a cell, or or a database or whatever it is, that character limit for that particular database. I could see that. I'm sure that that would be presented though. I never thought about that. So he's talking about there are certain languages that, for example, certain words require specific like coding, because they're letters. Like he was saying, if you were using Akropovic is a Slavian manufacturer. To store the C in Akropovic, you need to encode the value appropriately, because like the regular C doesn't work because you have to have this symbol over the top of it. I can see that being a test question too. So it'll say what type. So it'll say what do you use, or why do you use integers, or what do integers store? And I could see that being like, what do integers store? And you could say integers store whole numbers. And same thing with rational numbers. So I could see that being a thing as well. Trying to figure out, like, what do you use rational numbers for? Rational numbers are used to include decimal points. That'd be interesting. Maybe name something that I pick up, my next electronic that I pick up, naming it Big Int. At some point, I really need to look into what is the difference between SQL Server and MySQL, because a lot of what you hear about is MySQL. Up until now, I've had a little bit of experience with MySQL and a little bit of experience with BigQuery, which is Google's version of like MySQL. Yes, today's coffee is actually a Jamaican blend. I picked it up yesterday. I wanted to try some different, like, I like different coffees. I'm not a guy who's into like creamer and sugar and all of that stuff inside of the coffee because I want to taste the coffee itself. So I've been experimenting with different types of coffee, and I really liked Jamaican coffee. I also love Hawaiian coffee. Um, I lived in Hawaii for 7 years, so it was you get used to Hawaiian coffee and the taste of Hawaiian coffee. And I have just started my journey on my coffee journey in itself. So each morning when you guys come in, you will see this is an Ember cup. So I don't like my coffee to get cold. So mostly during class, you'll see me with the Ember cup. And I'll probably get an Ember mug because sometimes I like to have a little bit more coffee. But each morning I start off with my Ember cup. So thank you for asking. Yes, it's a pretty nice blend this morning. Well, most of it is because like I get up at like 3 in the morning. And so I get up at 3 in the morning, I work out, I do, I feed the animals in the house and then by the time I get done with everything I need to do, it's about 5. So for you guys, our study group doesn't start till 8. So I've got about 3 hours of downtime where usually I nap during that time. I am not a person who doesn't take advantage of the time that I have. So most of the time I'm fasting in the morning anyway. So, getting in some Z's in between that is ideal. And I love my little naps that I take. So they may say that's old, and that's fine, but I know how I feel, and I feel amazing when I get up from a good nap and then have a nice solid cup of coffee and come and sit down and study with you guys. So ideally, it works for me. Okay, I wonder, do they have a standard for the way that you do time? Because in the military, we do time slightly different. So they have the military standard time, and so when I look at a lot of this, I'm curious to see if we have like an international standard when it comes to this is the way databases or the way that you would write something in a database is listed, so that you know. I didn't see him speak about there being a standard, like an international standard for date and time. Um, you just kind of have this depending on the different quote unquote data types. And the three systems that he's talking about, Oracle, Microsoft SQL Server, and then MySQL. I am going to take a look to find something out to find out if it is because we really need to know, or I want to know, what is the difference between um, SQL Server and MySQL. And this is the read. So let me get you guys out of here. And so this is what we have. And for those of you that may not be able to see, Both MySQL and MySQL Server are widely used enterprise database systems. MySQL is an open source relational database, while MySQL Server is a Microsoft developed. Okay, so that's the difference. So one is an open source and one obviously is owned by Microsoft. So, but they function similarly for the enterprise level. Okay. All right, let's talk about money. What is the difference between money and small money? Essential to differentiate between data formatting and data storage. Okay, I gotta look at this to see. Okay, so all right, so this is select sales price and sales divided by right, sales price times 100 as a percentage from the money table example. Okay, got it. So Oh, hold on. So they used the numeric data type there and used a money table. Interesting. So here it put money table. It said from the money table example, which I assumed was some type of, he had entered some database that had money table, but then here he's saying, no, you guys are fine. Come on in. We're a couple of minutes away from our break. But what we've been talking about is he's going through the different data types. So he's talking about rounding, and what I'm trying to see is what is different that he did here. So here he's just saying select sales price and sales price divided by price times 100, make it into a percentage. Okay, that's easy. And getting it from the money table, that's easy too. But now instead of just flashing through these, what he's saying is that because SQL has its specific requirements is only for, you can only have 4 spaces after the decimal point in SQL. So in doing so, he's saying, like, if you were to do this in like a spreadsheet, the spreadsheet will round up to 82. Versus this, which says it's 81.81, which is what it pulled out specifically. And then this is if you do it obviously on a calculator. This is where I was trying. Oh, I see what he did. Okay, so you guys see it too? Well, maybe you guys saw it first and I didn't see it until I kept going back and then walked through each step. Okay, so in the last time he had select sales, I think it was select sales price, and then, hold on. Okay, so see how he has here select sales price, comma, price. And then he has this. In the next one, he put it, it said sales price, still, but he has round this, which was, first of all, we didn't have 2 here. It was just, so we had, if you just block that whole thing, we just had sales price as a percentage, and he said rounded, and in doing so, pulled it from the numeric table, and that's how he got the 82. Okay, I got it. So you have to round the answer in MySQL when you're using the numeric data type. Okay, that's key. That I wish you could actually take like screenshots in here to keep in your notes, but that's something. I am going to take a picture with my phone because I want to add that to a note, a very important note. So let me just grab that real quick, you guys, and that way I can keep it in the notes for the class. Good question. I actually use, so the question was, what do I use for my note taking? So I use GoodNotes because most of my stuff, when I get done with this class, I actually sit down on my iPad. So I usually sit down on my iPad and I will go through most of my work. So I will go through like a picture I just took, and then I'll sit down with GoodNotes and I'll write down what I remember from the class. That's my study method. So I know you guys have different study methods, but that's what I've started to figure out works for me to be able to retain this information is get done with the study group, and then you kind of sit down and write down what did you remember from the study group. That's why when we come back from our break, we always do those 5 questions, because those 5 questions, like last time we did our study group, by the time we had finished those 4 questions, not 5, but the 4 questions, it was already done. Like the 5 minutes was already done. It goes so quickly. So we just usually kind of roll through. So that's why when I get done, I have to take and say, okay, what did I remember from what we talked about? Write the notes for that day, and then they're stored away on GoodNotes. If you have never seen GoodNotes, then let me be the first to introduce you guys to it. Okay, there is a lot that you need to know in GoodNotes, so we'll just kind of, I just want to bring this up to you guys. GoodNotes is really awesome in being able to find what you need to find. So if you have an iPad, okay, and they do have a desktop version, by the way, but it's usually synced for what you have. But if you have an iPad, you can use GoodNotes. All of this stuff syncs, so whatever you do, if you do something and change something on your desktop, if you have a Mac and you change this out, like let's say you change something on your notes, it shows up in GoodNotes on the actual desktop as well. But this is really cool, and one of the things that is key, well, the reason why I love it is because you can actually search your stuff. So it will search your handwriting. So if you have an Apple Pencil, obviously most people, if you have an iPad, they tend to get an Apple Pencil because of how it works. So just wanted to put that out there to you guys. Okay, let's finish up with this part. You're at your 5-minute mark, so just be aware that you're at your 5-minute mark. So you'll go directly to break in less than 5 minutes. So just get prepared for that part. As you prepare for the Data Plus exam, you should recognize the differences between storing a data type and formatting it to facilitate human interpretation. Take care not to automatically infer a data type based on formatting. Important. I could see that being something that is on the exam as well. Obviously, it's an exam tip, but I'm just saying I could see there being some way that they want us to know the difference between storing, how a data type is stored, and then how it is formatted for a human to be able to read it and to determine what the numbers are. Data type defines values placed in columns. He always does these words like these almost like glossary type, because if you notice, like he writes typing, like strong typing is when technology rigidly enforces the data type. So then the cross to that would be, well, what is weak typing, which is obviously when they loosely enforce data types, meaning that you could go through and you could have, if instead of it, let's say we're doing numbers, and if there's a weak typing would then allow you to have numbers and maybe alphanumeric. So you could have some letters, some numbers. But if they're doing strong typing, if that particular set is specifically numbers, you can't put letters in it. So like he says, databases use strong typing because those things connect to other things, which for example, in a spreadsheet, that's not the case. All right, you guys have just about 2 minutes, and then if you have never been here and this is your first time, in 2 minutes, as the countdown is happening in the right hand corner, what will happen is the screen will change. It'll tell you that it's break time, You will know this if you're listening to me and not necessarily watching. You will know that it is break time because you will hear thunderstorms. And I specifically did that so that you know if you're just listening to this in the background and you're just hearing my voice because for whatever reason you can't see what I'm doing and you're just listening to what I'm saying, then you want to make sure that you go ahead, take a break, stand up, get you some coffee, whatever is required for you to get your day done, get that done. Okay, and we then come back and we take a quick little quiz on random things, maybe not even something that we've gone through, but we're just going through, taking our quiz, seeing how we're grading, and we keep doing that part. All right, and for those of you that are wondering, we do have a study group on Wednesday at 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. That is already scheduled, so in whatever particular place where you're watching me, you'll be able to see that there's already a scheduled part. You can set a reminder if you are in YouTube. You can set a reminder if you are on LinkedIn. You can set a reminder to let you know when the class starts, and then it'll send you a notification that the class is starting. I typically start the class maybe 1 or 2 minutes early. Don't feel bad if you arrive early and you're waiting. Most of the time I'm early to class, but the system doesn't allow me to get you guys in much earlier than that to keep for people who are going to be coming for specific times. All right, so we are going to pause ourselves right here and go ahead and put our little tab in our book for where we are, and this is where we will pick up on Wednesday, but we're going to go ahead and you guys are going to go on break, and then I'm going to go ahead and transition and pull our quiz up so we can get started on our quiz, because after then you only have a good 5 minutes, and that 5 minutes goes by really quickly when you're trying to figure out questions, and then we are done. So that time goes by quickly. I know, an hour. Again, this class was originally, the study group, I was originally studying 2 hours, and then there was a lot of people who did not like that. So you guys enjoy your break. All right, welcome back for you guys that are coming back early. So, all right, as you can see, the timer is at 5. We've already started, so let's get started. We usually do 4 questions. Sometimes we get through them really quickly, sometimes not. But Sandy is studying silverback gorillas and wants to determine the average weight for males and females. What best describes the data set she needs? I'm going to go sample. Sandy needs a sample data. An observation is the weight of a single gorilla, and the population is all silverback gorillas, which Sandy will be unable to weigh. A specific weight, like 369 pounds, is an observation of a weight variable. Which of the following is not considered PII? So that's personal something information. So favorite food is not considered personal information. Address, credit card, and passport number are definitely considered PII, but favorite food is not. I know PHI, so personal health information from my previous role, but PII is along the same, like that's personal information that should be protected or is protected. Chris is a financial analyst who wants to use Microsoft Excel to perform what-if analysis on data extracted from his corporate accounting system. To make the data extract easy to import, which of the following file formats should he specify? Why not use CSV? Comma separated values, which is what CSV stands for. You wouldn't use JSON because that would not import very well into Microsoft Excel. XML wouldn't as well. So it wouldn't do a very good import. What is the mode of the following numbers? $34? No. 34. I'm not reading his answer so I can see where I made my mistake. Okay, so 43 does once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So that is the mode because it would be 4 times. Okay, got it. So 34 is the median. Okay, got it. All right. That time we actually made it. I got a 75 on that one. So the way that the quizzing works, since we have just a little bit of time last time, we were going through the questions and we had like no time. So you can go back and you can say, let me retake this, which we just did. And the mode is 43. And now you would get 100 on it if you go back, as opposed to just taking your test and saying, okay, I got that one wrong, and have that come back later on. So then when you go through, we go back to the test bank. And what I like about it is it actually gives you, it'll actually give you like, hey, where are you on the test bank? So right now we have answered 10 questions. So we have 331 questions that we have not done yet. So stay tuned. Come back to the study group. Hopefully this has been beneficial for you. Maybe next time, if you have a question, just, type your question in and we can address it or something to that nature. But we were able to get through this, so this time I'm really happy. Last time we got cut off really quickly and you guys I didn't get a chance to say goodbye to you, but I appreciate you coming and hanging out this time. And we will meet again Wednesday 8 a.m. Central Standard Time, right back here. Wherever it is that you watch me, you can watch me again and that same location. And we talk about this Data Plus exam, and you can find me on any of the socials. You can look up Giovanni Hale and I will be there. I will see you guys on Wednesday. Later.